All right, guys, look at that. We have the hood on here now. It's starting to look a little bit like a Volkswagen. It's still a little funny looking without the fenders on, but the hood is on. That was a big step. I finally got everything back there taken care of. I had to redo it 2 or 3 times to get all the hoses correctly routed around the hinges and the wiring and everything. So that was a pain. I'm not even sure if this is perfectly correct, but I know that it all fits, so it's gonna work out for me. But that is all set now. You know, you can always get in there after anyways, but I did not want to work around the hood. So now that that's good, the hood's on. So next big thing I need to do is buff this hood. And I'm not sure if you can really see it in the reflection in here in the garage, but the biggest problem when you paint, not in a paint booth, and you don't bake it and cure it, is that the texture of this gets really dry. It looks like I can see it right here in this reflection, how the texture is dry, it's dyed back a lot. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buff this. I've been waiting to buff it just because I wanted to have it on the car so it would not fall off a stand or a workbench or anything, because it's such an awkward shaped hood that you really can't secure it. So now that it's secure on the car, I'm gonna be able to sand it and buff it. And then hopefully it'll look just as, you know, shiny and as the rest of the car, which once again, I don't know how good this looks in the camera anyways, but I'm pretty sure you guys can see, you know, what that looks like in the reflection. And this is the big step, and this is what takes a normal paint job, a backyard paint job, and makes it look like something that was really done professionally. I am a professional at this, but obviously painting in a garage, it's not the same as painting in a booth. So this is what you can do to make that paint job look just that much better. And when you go to car shows and you look at some paint and you go, yep, that doesn't look good, and then you see the guy next to it that looks nice and flat and shiny, you know that someone spent a lot of time sanding the texture down, sanding dirt off, and then buffing it. So that is what I'm going to do right now. All right, here's everything I'm gonna use pretty much to sand and buff this. I have the Chemical Guys Torque 15DA buffer right here. I'm used to a regular orbital buffer, but this thing is so much better. It's so much easier to use. I will leave the link for all this stuff in the description if you guys want to buy anything. But this buffer is really awesome if you guys are looking for a new one. I got it with the kit with the buffing pads and the compound, and they're pretty easy to follow along. They go up in numbers. You'll use the lower number for buffing up the harder grit scratches, and then you can work your way up to a polish. So that is a really good system that I have been using now, and it really is a game changer. So the other thing is I'm gonna sand the dirt out with 1500 grit by hand, and then after that I'll probably go with 2000 by hand. But then the final step is I'm gonna use the 3M Trizact 3000 on the DA. This sandpaper, if you wanna get the best finish, if you finish sanding what you wanna buff with the 3000 grit, the buffing will be a lot easier. You will have no sand scratches from this left anymore, just 3000. And buffing a 3000 grit scratch is so easy. This sandpaper is really, really awesome. It is expensive, but there's only 15 sheets, and it is expensive, but it's worth it if you plan on doing a really nice job sanding and buffing. So I will also leave the link for that in the description also. So like I said, I'm gonna take out the dirt first with 1500, go over it with 2000, and I'm gonna hit that with the DA with the 3000 grit, and then buff it. And I'm gonna actually do, I don't know which side I'm gonna do first, but I'm gonna do one of these insides and then not do the other one, just so I can show you guys the comparison of what it looked like before and then what it will look like after. Hopefully that'll come out in the video in the reflection of the light. So I'm gonna start doing that. If you guys have any questions about what I'm doing or what I'm using, just let me know in the comments. I'll get back to you. All right, guys, so this is how it looks after you sand it. At this point, you want to look it over and see where else you might need to sand with the 2000 or even go back to the 1500. I can still see some dirt. This thing had a lot of dirt in it, which is obviously not a good thing when you're painting. But like I said, I was in this garage, so I'm probably gonna go back and hit up a lot more of this with 2000 grit. The whole reason you want to step up in grit is that the deeper the scratch, the harder it's going to be to buff. So if you buff it with 1000 grit, then you need to progress 1500, 2000, 25 and up. Going from 1500 on the dirt to 2000 is really easy. And then if everything is 2000, the 3000 will then take that over. And then the 3000 grit scratch is obviously very easy to buff out. So I can still see some areas I want to do. I'm trying to stay away from the edges of these body lines, because if you hit that too much with either the sandpaper or the buffer, you can burn through and then you'll be painting this all over again. So I'm trying to stay in the middle. I've said it all the time, I'm not trying to make a show car out of this. I just wanted this to be a really nice looking driver. So if this is a show car, you'd want to sand this whole down, re-clear it one more time anyways. But that's not what we're doing here. So I'm gonna go back, especially in this area right here. I see a bunch of dirt still. If you can see it in this stage, you'll still see it when you buff it. So now's the time before the 3000 to go over anything. So I'm gonna go over this a little bit. I'm gonna go over the whole thing again, but definitely up in this area. Some of this dirt is gonna be there, I know that much. It's gonna get knocked down, but it won't get eliminated altogether. That's just part of the job from painting in a garage. So I'm gonna go over this again, but it is looking a lot flatter. Some of the texture's still there. All right, so now this is after the Trizac 3000. you can almost see, which maybe not in the camera, but I can almost see that 3000 grit almost starts polishing it a little bit. It's a lot brighter. It's not as, the clear coat's not as dull as when it was just the 15 or 2000 grit sand scratch. And if we come over here, hopefully once again, you'll be able to see in the reflection what the paint actually looked like and how dry and you know, dyed back it looked. And then here's this panel, all nice and sanded down, right in the middle. I can see that on some of the edges where I didn't want to go too crazy. It might still look a little bit dry, but most people who are looking at cars, they have no idea what they're looking at. If it's shiny, they think it's the best paint job in the world, so they probably wouldn't even pick out anything like it was over here. So, I mean, it might bug me a little bit, but I don't think anybody else is gonna really go crazy if they see this, as long as the big portion in the whole middle, you know, and up here in that portion is all nice and shiny and pretty flat looking. I don't think anybody's gonna care. So, looks good. I don't really see any dirt, any big dirt nibs. There was a couple big ones, like that big one right here, that you're gonna see, but it's obviously something in the base coat probably, and not the clear coat because it's still there after I sanded it. So it is what it is. I went over it, you know, not that long, but went over with a 3000 grit. You could keep going and going and going. But I'm gonna just start buffing now, and it should come out pretty good, pretty easily. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I got my Torque 15DA buffer. I have the orange pad, which is the medium heavy cutting pad. I got that on there, and I'm gonna use the V32 optical grade extreme compound. This is the heaviest stuff that I have. This has a little bit of grit in it that's gonna really buff up the sand scratches on here, and then I'm gonna step up to the polishing. Hopefully it'll go pretty easy. It should. All right, so just got done buffing this section with the cutting compound. I'm gonna go ahead and finish sanding the whole hood now, but I just wanted to show you guys what this looks like. Hopefully you can see how shiny it is. There's not that much good lighting here, but if we look at this side, you know, hopefully you can see how dull it is, and you know what the texture looks, how dry the clear coat looks. So this side is obviously a lot better. You might be able to see my reflection better, I'm not sure. Then this side might be the same. It's hard to tell right now on this screen and not when I'm on my computer. So I have to go around and do the edges a little bit more. But with the compound, I don't see any DA marks. I don't see any sanding marks anymore. I basically just need to go around and polish it. But what I want to do is I want to finish sanding, get this side sanded, get the inside, you know, and the sides all sanded down, because if I go ahead and polish everything here and then hit it when I'm sanding or when I'm compounding it, then I'm gonna have to go back on this section anyways. So I really just wanted to get this done, so hopefully you guys can see, you know, how bad of a paint job I did over here, and then what it can look like over here, maybe. Not that it's a bad paint job, it's just painting in a garage, and that's the way it is. So hopefully, trying to get you guys different angles, but hopefully you guys can see, you know, the difference between where I sanded and buffed it and where I haven't yet, it's much different, much better, much shinier. And this is gonna take me a little while because besides the roof, the hood might actually be bigger than the roof, but this is a big panel to sand all the way down and buff. So I'm definitely gonna be working on this for quite a while, but you know, it's the hood. So that's what everybody looks at when they're gonna look at your car, is the hood. So we wanna make sure that this is good. And it's one of those things that's quite rewarding when you get it all sanded down and buffed up nice. And like I said before, this is what makes that mediocre, you know, okay paint job look like it's, you know, really done professionally, like it cost you, you know, $10,000. This is what really sets it apart, because a lot of people can just spray clear coat and, you know, it's shiny enough, but it's not really that good. There's only a certain amount of cars out there that are buffed up nice, sanded down flat, buffed up nice. Anybody can have what it looks like right here. So that is the big difference. And I'm just gonna keep going, and I will show you guys the end product when I'm all set. I'm not gonna bore you with any more buffing videos because it's really just me standing here with a buffer. It's not really that exciting. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the rest of this sanded down. Thank you for watching. Any questions, let me know. Like I said, all the products and what I'm using, any links will be in the description. You guys can buy that. That'll really help out my channel, so I appreciate it. And I will check in with you next time. All right, what's going on, guys? I got the hood buffed. It's pretty much finished. I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit more on it. I know I'm gonna have to do a little bit more on the car and the roof and stuff. So when it's all said and done, I'll probably go over and polish it one more time. But it looks pretty good. It's pretty decent. It's shiny. It's nice and flat for the most part. Like I said, this is not a show car, even though I'm going above and beyond what I should be doing.